Okay, welcome everyone, 11:30. Let's get it going. My name again is Eric Anderton, and I'd like you to consider this time an oasis for you. We're going to go through the Construction Leaders Dashboard, and my focus, my commitment to you today is to give you a framework that's going to really help you to beat the overwhelm that many construction leaders feel and build profit in your organization. So I'd like you to think of this time as your 60-minute oasis. From the hurly-burly of your day-to-day life. This is a good place for you if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're having difficulty focusing on what matters most in your construction organization, if there's complaints within the organization about people not being accountable or aligned, if you benefit from a tool to stay grounded and focused on the things that matter the most, this is a great place for you to be. And if you actually take the tool and use it, what it's going to help you to do is get grounded and focused on what matters most. It's going to foster accountability in the entire organization. It can resolve issues of personal conflict with the organization's values and mission. And it's a simple tool, again, for you to be able to focus on what matters most in your organization. All righty, let's just dive in. So 2017, how is it going for everyone? I'm assuming that you guys are busy. As a result of that, though, there's a lot of overwhelm in companies, okay? The sun is shining, but it's challenging, isn't it? Your guys are out in the field, they're building buildings, they're working hard, everyone's working hard in the office, people are locked and loaded for the next few months, and even the backlog for most organizations is looking pretty good at the moment. And you don't need me to tell you that you are in a very, very challenging environment. It's interesting. I was working with one of my clients last week, and they said something very funny. Construction, it sucks, but it's fun. and that really struck me, right? A lot of times construction, it sucks, but it's fun. And one of the great things about construction is, to a certain extent, it's a very simple, very, very simple type of business, right? You've got to bid work, you've got to plan work, you've got to build work, and then you've got to get paid for the work that you're doing, okay? Now, I know that that's very easy to say, and it's very hard to do. It's easy to say, I've got to bid work, plan work, build work, and then get paid for it. It's hard to do. And why is that? Because the reality of construction is that it's multifaceted, there's tons of uncertainties, there's tons of unknowns, and there's many people involved. And when you get people involved in anything, it's going to result in complexity and conflict and challenge. So you think about the projects you're on at the moment, right? Whether you're a subcontractor or a general contractor, there's a project, and there's subs, and there's an owner, and there's a GC, and everyone's got their own interests, and everyone's got their own issues, and people have to really come together to focus on what's most important so that you can build a project safely and quickly, and you can get it in on time, and you can get it in with high quality. And in this environment, the challenge for you, no matter which circle you are, there's some things that you have no control over. There's some things that you have some control over, and there's some things that you have total control over, okay? So let's think about some of those things in terms of your construction business. As far as the build part of the business is concerned, think of the challenges involved with working in a safe environment, with bringing something in a timely manner and meeting the schedule. I know that construction companies right now have deep challenges with schedule just because there's so much work out there. The labor shortage is so intense, and so it's very difficult to balance speed and quality and keep clients happy, even though there's so much work out there to be done. And so you as a contractor, you have to focus on consistent planning and communication in order to execute on what makes you money. Because at the end of the day, the guys who are making you money are out in the field right now building something, okay? And so those are the folks that need to be really focused on consistent planning and communication. Because it's very important to understand, from 1964 to 2017, the average dollar volume of construction built has stayed about the same, but competition has gone up 3 times, okay? And the average net profit for construction companies is 3%. Now, I hope that yours is more than 3%, but we're always challenged to increase that net profit. but it's a low net profit business and it's a high risk business. So being able to focus on what's most important is absolutely critical to your success. Just to put this in perspective, it takes $33,000 in revenue to make $1,000 of profit on 3% net profit. And put it another way, it takes 4 to 5 profitable jobs to break even from one bad job. So it's essential that you focus on your profitability. But then think about the opportunities. I tell you guys, this is a great time to be involved in construction. We're not in 2008, 2009, 2010. We're in a booming economy, and right now it's time to kick some butt, right? Construction is essential. It can't be outsourced. It's merit-based. And here's 7 attributes of the best construction companies. They pursue niche work at which they're excellent. They deal with clients they know well. They work with project partners they trust. They maintain high-quality, efficient construction work. They emphasize and demand safety. They insist on timely payment. And they have a financial cushion to weather bad times. I tell you, let's make it different this time than it was last time when things were booming. Let's make sure that we're diligent to be putting away our money so when the downturn comes, it'll come eventually, that you're ready with a nice financial cushion to ride that out, to retain your talent, and to make sure that you have a legacy that you can build on for the next 15 or 20 years. So just if some of you, most of you on the call I know pretty well, some of you I don't. My name is Eric. I've been helping construction companies build people and products since 2004. And the 3 things that I can help you with is, number 1, strengthen your leadership. Number 2, build your team. And number 3, grow your business. These are some of the companies that I've worked with. So you can see it's subcontractors, general contractors, some small companies, some very large companies, but all awesome companies to work with. This is what one of my clients says about working with me. I really like Cook Engineering. They're very successful. I like what he says here. We have a straightforward, repeatable process to plan and take action. I believe in straightforward processes, and that's what you're going to get today with the Construction Leaders Dashboard. And as a result of working with me, I made a contribution to their highest revenue and profit figures in more than 5 years. This is what John Quincy of Quincy Engineering says. I highly recommend Eric Anderton's leadership training to improve your individual management and leadership skills and the overall management and leadership of your firm. And as far as my business is concerned, this is the way I run my business. Low overhead, stay humble, and it's not what you make, it's what you keep. I tell you, it's good advice for construction companies. Keep that overhead low. Don't let that sneaky overhead rob you of your profit dollars. Stay humble. When things are going well, keep focused on getting better. When things are going badly, don't let it overwhelm you, but keep focused on building right and planning right and getting paid for the work that you do. And really, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. We can all make money right now. We can all get top line dollars, but it's the bottom line that counts. So let's stay focused on that. You know that leading a construction company is one of the hardest challenges that you can take on, right? In fact, leaders of construction companies, they privately share with me 3 real challenges. It feels almost impossible to get all of the leadership team on the same page about the direction of the company, okay? Expectations of performance are not always clear, and you get different levels of contribution and different levels of value from different individuals. And they also share with me that leadership meetings sometimes can get extremely tense to the point of nothing getting done. And this tension and feeling of overwhelm, it can infect the entire organization. And so that's why it's really important to use a tool like the Leadership Dashboard to deal with some of these issues. So you think about the Construction Leadership Assessment. If you signed up for the webinar, you should have been able to download this. And if you didn't, feel free to let me know and I can show it to you or share it with you. But think about how you answered some of these questions, right? My team shares a common vision for where the organization is heading. Is that a true statement, right? My team feels passionately about our mission and purpose. My team shares the same top 5 non-negotiable values. Think about it as you went through this assessment here, and if you haven't taken it already, you need to. You need to really stop and think about where your team is in terms of the clarity of their vision and the contribution they're making to your organization. Look at this down here, right? My personal values are aligned with the values of the organization, and I can give numerous examples. So you live out your values actually in the way that you behave, okay? Look at this one here. Each employee has a clear plan to develop professionally, and I personally support employees in realizing their plans. You have a lot of responsibility in terms of your leadership, and that's exactly why the leadership dashboard is so essential. Now think about this. If you score 3 or lower in any of those areas, you should be concerned about that. So check out this quote from David Foster Wallace. A real leader is somebody who can help us overcome the limitations of our own individual laziness, selfishness, weakness, and fear, and get us to do better things than we can do ourselves on our own. I tell you, you're surrounded by people who are lazy, selfish, weak, and fearful. And guess what? You're like that as well. I am too. And leadership is all about helping us to overcome the worst parts of ourselves and really tap into the best parts of ourselves. Because I believe within each one of us, we have potential for great evil, but we also have potential for great good. And one of your roles as a leader is to bring out the best, not only in yourself, but to bring out the best in everyone in your organization. And the Leadership Dashboard tool can really help you as far as your focus with that. So let's dive in a little further into what it's all about. So now imagine if all your leaders and employees were focused and aligned with a common vision and purpose, okay? And so the whole idea of the Construction Leaders Dashboard is to help you to focus on what matters the most so that you spend your time doing things that are going to drive profitability and success in your organization. And so that you can make sure that everyone in the business is aligned. This is key. Everyone is aligned and accountable and contributing to the company's growth and success. Now, if you're clear on what's most important and you have everyone aligned, you know what it's going to do? It's going to help you to attract, develop, and retain talent. And you know there's a big battle for talent in the construction industry at the moment. And so you need to be really clear on what drives you as an organization so that you can then attract the right people and repel the wrong people. Think about your organization at the moment. Do you have the right people in the right seats on the bus that can help you to drive the future of your company? Or are you misaligned as far as that's concerned? These are issues that you have to deal with, okay? So let's go into a little bit more detail here. Now, the whole idea of the Construction Leaders Dashboard, it's divided into 2 main parts. Number 1 is your mindset. And what I mean by the mindset is the way that you think, right? And your fundamental grounding philosophies in terms of how you do business. So it's kind of a deep thing. But then you've got to go from mindset to action. Okay, now many people in the construction business, they're very good at the action part. And what I'll submit to you is that if you get really good at clarifying the mindset part, it's going to improve the actions that you take, and that's then going to result in the outcomes that you're looking for. So think about that framework there. Mindset leads to action, action leads to outcome. If you want to change your outcomes, change your mindset, and then choose the actions that are going to lead to that outcome. Let's just break down the dashboard. In terms of mindset, number 1, you've got your vision. This is what you want your career or your business to look like over the next 2 to 5 years, okay? Then you have your mission, where you describe the why. What difference or contribution gets you excited about the impact your career or your business can have in the community? That's one of the great things about construction too. Man, I tell you, you guys have an awesome impact upon communities. Not only in the fact that you build things that last and that people can use and people can get benefit from, but think of all the families you've benefited over the years as a direct result of the work that you've done and the pay that you've given them. You've had a massive positive impact on many people's lives, both in what you've built and in what you've provided over the years. So you should be proud of that, okay? And then what you have is you have your values. And this is important. What are your top 3 to 5 values, both for yourself as an individual and for your organization, that are non-negotiable? In other words, they're your core values. You have to be able to identify those. And then what's your edge? What sets you apart? What sets you apart from the general contractor down the street? Why would anyone want to do business with you as a subcontractor as opposed to the hundreds of other subcontractors in your area that may do the same thing? What is it that's unique about you or your organization? What attributes or strengths do you have? Okay, we're going to dive into that with this dashboard. So if you look at those 4 things there, your vision, your mission, your values, and your edge, those are the mindset that you bring to the table. okay? And those are what's going to drive the actions that get you to where you're going. And so if you visualize it from this triangle here, you've got your vision and your mission here at the bottom. You've got your values at the heart of this triangle, and then you've got your edge kind of leading the way. That's what has an impact on people, as you understand your edge, and you're using that for the profitability of your business, okay? So now, let's move on here. We want to talk about the action items. Number one, your initiatives. What are the most important initiatives that currently define your success? Do you know where you should focus your time, or are you scattered all over the place? You need to be able to define your initiatives. Then you've got to define your performance metrics, okay? How do you know that you're being successful in executing your initiatives? You need to identify the most important performance metrics, both for your area of responsibility and for your organization, so that you can ensure that you're on top of how your company is doing on a regular basis. Then you need to build relationships. Now, this is very important. I tell you, at the end of the day, you know what construction is about? Relationships and communication. All things being equal in terms of technical talent and in terms of technology, it's the relationships that you build with people that's going to determine your success. So who are the most important critical people inside and outside the organization that you need to develop relationships with? And then the last one is development opportunities. I tell you, one of the reasons why people are not happy in their lives is because they're not growing and changing. And one of the great things about business is that if you're going to be successful, it compels you to grow and to change. So what are the experiences, assignments, opportunities, professional development opportunities that you have, or that people in your organization need to take advantage of in order to grow, okay? And remember this, your growth is directly related to how much money you can make in your construction business. The more you grow in your understanding of the business, the more you grow in your ability to motivate your people, the more that will directly impact your bottom line over time. So those four things there, those are the actions: your initiative, your performance metrics, your relationships, and your development opportunities. And you can picture them in terms of this triangle right here. And so what you want to do is you put those two triangles together, the mindset and the action, and that leads to the outcome in terms of how you bid work, how you plan work, how you build work, and then how you get paid for it. Okay, so this is an integrated approach to help you to really focus on what matters the most and execute that very well. Okay, so keep that idea in mind as we go through it. Let's dive into it in a little more detail. Let's talk about the vision. Okay, this is really awesome. What do you want? Let's say you could just wave a magic wand right now. What would you want your career to look like over the next 2 to 5 years? Think of yourself as an individual. Then think of yourself as an organization. Perhaps, I know there's folks on this call who are the president, the main leader of their organization. Where do you want your business to be in the next 3 to 5 years? Now, when this vision question comes up, people sometimes they shy away from it. And the reason why is because we live our lives a lot of times just like this. Chickens with our heads cut off, right? Running around here, there, and everywhere, not really focused on what's most important. And that lack of focus is seen in the way that we operate our business. We're so busy building stuff that we don't stop to think about where the company should be going in the next 3 to 5 years. And as a result of that, you know what happens? We're just average. Now, there's a lot of average contractors out there. I'm assuming because you're stopping and spending time at 11:30 on a Thursday afternoon that you're not really average. You look to improve yourself. And I tell you, the foundation of going from average to excellence is getting a clear vision of where you want to be in your career and a clear vision of where you want your company to go, okay? So once you get that clarity, what it will help you to do then is focus. And this is one of the, I tell you, we live in a distracted age, right? Maybe you're on your phone right now answering an email, right? One of those really vital emails that just can't wait. But we live in a distracted age, and you need to learn to get focused. And a good vision will help you to be focused. And like I said, it will move you from the average up to the excellent category, okay? So the vision, again, where do you want to be in the next 3 to 5 years? Just write that out in a very simple way and see if it compels you and motivates you to further action. Because an important part after the vision is then the mission. Okay, this describes the why. What difference or contribution do you want to make as a result of running your business or building your career? What gets you excited about the impact you can have in your career? And you know what we have in our culture is we have a lot of conformity, right? Everyone seems to be doing the same thing, right? Driving towards making as much money as possible so they can then retire and play golf. Now, if you want to do that, that's fine, okay? And making money in business is awesome, okay? It's a reflection of the fact that you're providing value. But ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? And the way I encourage my clients to do this is in this way, very simply. Number one, ask why you're doing what you're doing. Write that answer down. Then look at that answer and ask yourself this question, why? Okay, so if your answer to the mission statement is to make money, that's awesome. But then ask yourself this question, why is it that you want to make money? One of my clients, they've identified very clearly why they want to make money. Because their mission is to provide and endure. They want to endure as an organization so they can continue to have a positive impact on people's lives. And they have a clear mission. Because if you don't, this is what it looks like to your people. You know, blah, 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 whatever. It's difficult to get people motivated to do the difficult things in construction if you don't have a clear mission. And as a result of that, what do you get? You get average. There's lots of companies out there that are not clear on their mission, and they get by. But if you're interested in doing more than getting by, you need to identify that strong why that's going to compel you to move forward in the challenges that you face as a construction company. Okay, so what the best construction companies do is they distinguish themselves by that mission. One of my construction clients, you know what their mission is? It's to crush the competition. And that gets them pumped up. To go out there and crush the competition, they really get focused on that. And they mean that in the best possible way. And with that clarity of mission, it helps them to push the rock up the hill. Think about that. It helps them to persist. Every single day, you know what you're doing? You're pushing that boulder up the hill. And it's a challenge to run a construction company. And that's why you have to have a deep sense of purpose that you communicate not only to yourself but to other people, and that compels you to move forward to victory as far as running a successful organization is concerned. So if you haven't taken time to clearly communicate, to clearly articulate and communicate a mission for your organization, it is your responsibility as a construction leader to do that. Okay, now once you've got the mission down, you've got to move on to the values. Now the challenge right now, particularly because things are slammed and everyone is so busy, it's really easy to get into lots of conflict on a job site, and it's really easy to feel overwhelmed and unstable. Okay, now think about this. How many jobs are you on at the moment with owners or subs or GCs that you wish you could avoid? But for whatever reason, you've taken that work and you're doing the work and you're getting it done, but you feel like you're out of alignment with the people that you're working with. And maybe one of the reasons why is because you haven't identified the values or the behaviors that drive your business, and you haven't really conducted your business based on those values. So what the best companies do is they identify their core values, those values that they are not going to violate. In other words, we are going to live our lives as a company in a particular way, and it doesn't matter what the market says, and it doesn't matter what our clients say, we're not going to violate those core values. And that gives you the power to say no. Because like right now, right, it's hard to say no. There's so much work out there. You've got to keep clients happy, and you're just busy. But I want to ask you a question here. Project yourself forward 3 to 5 years from now. Let's say we're in the next downturn. Things aren't quite as busy, and you look back to this time and ask yourself, was it worth it? Was it worth it if you're violating your core values at the moment to make the money that you did and yet not feel good about yourself or about the way you conducted your company? This is why you've got to identify those core values and stay true to them, even if it may cost you something in the short term or even in the long term, because you'll feel better about yourself and you'll develop the kind of organization that people who share your values will want to stick with over the long term. Okay, now, let's get on to the edge here. Okay, now, you know what the problem with a lot of people is they don't know who they are. They just have no idea what sets them apart, what unique attributes or gifts or strengths or value they bring to the table as a professional. And as a result of not knowing who they are, people kind of be, you know, they're a little scattered in their lives. And as a result of that, they don't reach their full potential. This is why it's so important for you to think about who you are and the contribution you make in the organization that you're in. So you've got to know your thinking style to begin with. right? Are you the type of person that's very strong with numbers, for instance, and you can process numbers really well? Well, you need to spend most of your time figuring out how you can focus on looking at the numbers in your organization and using those to your advantage. Maybe you're a person who's more articulate or you're able to communicate more effectively. You need to put yourself in those areas where you can communicate effectively. You need to understand yourself from a thinking point of view. You also need to understand yourself from a behavioral point of view. I'll tell you, it's really important for you to know what your energy level is and whether you like to hang out with people or not, or whether you're more subjective or objective in the way that you think, or whether you're independent or you work better in teams. It's important for you to know how you behave, because that can then help you to understand where you should be focusing your time. And then the third thing is you need to know your vocational interests. What interests you? I'm assuming that most people here on this call are interested in doing things with their hands because they're in the construction business. But maybe you're creative as well, or maybe you're inclined towards technical things or to entrepreneurial things. You need to understand who you are from a thinking perspective, from a behavioral perspective, and from an interest perspective, so that you can then focus on what brings the most value and gives you an edge in terms of your contribution. And not only for you, but for everyone in your organization as well. Okay, so once you've got that idea, we can now move on to the initiatives where we get into action. So think about this. There's overwhelm at the moment, right? You're overwhelmed. You've probably got, I don't know, 10 or 15 emails in the last 35 minutes since we've been on this call. You're overwhelmed. And as a result of that, what happens? You get into the whack-a-mole, right? It's whack-a-mole. Every day is whack-a-mole. Problems here, problems there, problems here. And that's construction to a certain extent. But if you allow that whack-a-mole to keep going, then you get profit fade. You get profit fade. And that's why it's so important for you to be able to focus on the initiatives that are most important for your position and then the position of other people in your organization. Okay, so let me walk you through that. When you have that focus, so for instance, I was talking to a superintendent this week, and I asked him, what are your initiatives? And he was really clear. I need to focus on my guys in the field in 3 particular ways. I need to focus on communication with the office, and I need to focus on communicating with the client as far as all the things that we're doing. He had a clear understanding of what his initiatives are, where he should be focusing his time. As a result of that, in terms of construction, quality, speed, and efficiency can go up, and costs can come down. Safety instances can be reduced. Quality can go up. All of these things happen as a result of people being focused, and as a result of that, profitability happens. Profit fade happens because of a lack of focus and a lack of communication. Profitability happens when the right people are focused on doing the right things and they're not distracted by a bunch of other stuff. And so that's why you need to get key metrics, performance metrics as well. So the problem is, think about this, in your area of responsibility, do you know the top 2 or 3 metrics that indicate whether or not you're doing a good job, or that indicate whether or not your company is doing well? See, the problem with metrics sometimes is we get into the see no evil, hear no evil, you know what I'm saying? And we kind of ignore the metrics, or we don't pay attention until they get really bad. So the light is green when the project starts, and then things start to fade and it goes yellow, and we hope it fixes itself, but it never does. And then by the time it hits red, we start freaking out, and we feel like we're out of control, and that leads to a failed project, okay? So think about this. What are those performance metrics that you need to be talking about every day or every week or every month with your people so they understand exactly what they need to do in order to be successful? Because the companies who have performance metrics identified can then hold each other accountable. And as a result of that accountability, they can be focusing on what is the correct thing to do in their organization. And as a result of that, slow and steady growth can occur. That's what you're looking for, by the way. You're not looking for a magic pill that's going to change your life. You're looking for discipline and hard work and focus so that you can make slow and steady progress over time. Okay, now let's get on to relationships. You know the problem about relationships are? They're difficult. People are difficult. You're difficult, right? Think about this. Some people are prickly. Some people are too soft. Some people get themselves isolated, okay? Relationships are the essence of construction, the strength of your relationship, your ability to develop relationships and maintain relationships through the up and down of the challenges of life. This is one of the essence of construction. So check this out, guys. Think about this in terms of relationships. as far as who are the most important people up, down, and across the organization, and even outside of the organization that you need to get to know. So who's your Yoda, for instance? Do you have a Yoda? Think about that. Do you have someone to talk to? One of the problems, I tell you, man, you know, when I work with my clients, one of the problems with someone in like a senior position in an organization, they have no one to talk to. Other people come to them with their problems, but they have no one else to just be a sounding board and to talk about the challenges they have in the organization. So you need a Yoda, someone that you can unload to and unburden yourself. Not only do you need a Yoda, but you need a Sundance Kid, right? Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. You need someone who can come alongside you and encourage you. And you need to be a Sundance Kid to someone as well. You need to be able to go up to your people and strengthen them and hold them accountable and encourage them and recognize them. And then who are the people outside your organization? Think about the golden ticket. Here's a good one for you. Write down the name of one person outside your organization that you need to get to know that can have a massive positive impact upon your company. Who's that golden ticket? Who's that one person, that developer or that general contractor that you need to get to know and build a relationship with that could really help your business in a profound way? Okay, you need to build relationships. And then what you need to do is you need to develop. Okay, and remember, your development in business is directly tied to the amount of value you bring, and the amount of value you bring is directly tied to the amount of money that you make. The problem is with development is we're lazy, we're scattered, and then we get stuck. Okay, listen, if you haven't read a book on your industry or on leadership in the last 30 days, if you're not reading, if you're not thinking, if you're not growing, you need to get with the program there a little bit. I just want to give you just a friendly kind of, you know, a friendly sort of alarm here. You need to stop wasting time. You need to really focus on developing yourself in whatever way you need to. Let me ask you this. What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to start doing? What behavior do you have in your life that you just need to stop? Okay? What do you need to start doing in order to up-level your game as a leader? Because what the best leaders are doing is they're always focusing on development. And really, if you think about your business, they're focusing on getting better at running their processes. They're focusing on understanding their products and their services. They're focusing on developing their people and getting better at developing their people. And as a result of that, they're taking on challenges. What challenges do you need to take on? What are the issues in your business that have been around for years that you've been avoiding, that you need to develop yourself so that you can then take on those challenges, okay? And as a result of that, I want to encourage you with development. Take a tortoise and a hare approach, okay? Again, one seminar is not necessarily going to do it for you. You might get one or two great ideas, but you know what's going to do it for you? Progressive change every day, progressive study, progressive application of new ideas. Okay, think about how things could be different for you one year from today if you just make steady progression as far as your development is concerned. Okay, so that's the leadership dashboard. And again, you know that leading a construction company is challenging. So if you have a problem getting people on the same page, if expectations are not always clear, and if things are tense in your organization, that's why you need to dive into this leadership dashboard so that you can focus on what matters, make sure everyone in the organization is aligned, and attract and develop future leaders in your company. So now it's time to get to work. Okay? This is what George Patton said. A good plan violently executed today is far better than a perfect plan tomorrow. So in terms of the leadership dashboard, where do you want to be? In terms of your vision, your mission, the values, your edge, the initiatives, the performance metrics, the relationships, the development opportunities. What's the one relationship you want to develop in the next 12 months? Okay? What's the initiative that you need to focus on that's going to have the most impact in the next 90 days? Your edge. Stop wasting time on things that you're not really good at. Figure out what you're really good at and focus on that. Okay? And so where are you now? Where are you now as far as those things are concerned? What's distracting you? What are you doing in your organization that you need to delegate to somebody else? Right? There's tons of stuff that you're probably doing that's distracting you from what you do best. And you need to delegate it to somebody else and develop them so they can take care of it. What are those performance metrics that you're either ignoring or you're unaware of that really have an impact on your business? What are the new performance metrics that you need to sort of highlight that may give you a new perspective on things, on how things are going? Okay, think about that. And what's holding you back as far as those things are concerned? Maybe you're just not clear on any of this. And as a result of that, you're frustrated and you're running, you know, you're like that headless chicken, you know, going all over the different places and not really getting anything done. And you're stuck in sort of the mediocre, average performance area. And you need to up-level those things. The Construction Leaders Dashboard is all about your mindset and actions that then lead to the outcomes that you want. Okay? And if you think about this, again, you've got these two triangles of mindset and action that lead you to being able to bid, build, plan, and bill work in the way that you want to.